Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel, back again with yet another video here for you guys. So first things first guys, sorry for the little bit of a gap in the content. We have been having some issues, not going to get into it too much, but nevertheless we are back, and today I've got something super special for you guys to make up for the gap. And today we're going to be going over the FN P90 from Double Bell. So this particular model, like I said, is made by Double Bell. Obviously the P90 platform isn't exactly the most popular platform there is out there, and unfortunately they do have a slightly, what's the word, not the greatest reputation. In the past, as most of you guys would know, any of you guys out there that have used P90s, the earlier generation P90s, what you guys would have noticed, one of the main big issues about P90s was feeding issues. So obviously, because like most airsoft guns, in your hop-up sort of setup, your hop sits like that, where your BBs feed in from the bottom. You then have spin, which is then put onto the BB from the top, and of course your BB travels down your barrel. Now with the P90, it is inverted. This of course comes with a whole lot of its own challenges, where now of course instead of feeding from the bottom, you're now feeding from the top, which therefore means that your hop window needs to be at the top of the hop. It's a whole different sort of system here. It's a completely different system. Now earlier models of the P90s had this exact issue. What a lot of guys thought was obviously being a bullpup in design. Well, not really a bullpup in design, but it does have the sort of tendencies of bullpups, where, as most of you guys who have used bullpups will know, your gearbox and everything sits back here. That is your entire barrel length, which means you do get a pretty substantial barrel in a package that is really only so big. That was what made bullpups so popular in airsoft, because obviously they could perform a lot better than most guns while still being compact and small and light, and you know, obviously a lot easier to maneuver than most guns like full-size ARs or even DMRs and pretty much anything along those lines. So this was a great idea, however terribly executed, and of course it just came with its own mixed bag of problems that came along with it. The gearbox, not so much. The gearbox itself is very similar to a version 7 from what I understand, if I remember correctly. I haven't worked on many of these personally. I've never really used them all that much personally. I think I've played 1 or 2 games with P90s, but I don't have the world's greatest experience when it comes to working on them, so please correct me if I'm wrong. But from what I understand, they are very similar to version 7 gearboxes. The gearbox itself is not the problem. Unfortunately, that was always the issue. However, it doesn't seem to be an issue on the Double Bell P90. It seems like after all these years, we have finally figured out the issues with the P90s, and this particular hop system is now no longer an issue. There are a few guys out here, some of my customers in particular, that are running some of these out here now, and they love it. As per usual, it does have the sort of perks that come with the P90, the, you know, as I explained, the whole bullpup sort of system, and they love it. Of course, the Double Bell does come with a high cap mag, which on its own is a slight little bit of an inconvenience. It does hold plenty of BBs. It's 300 rounds, if I remember correctly, on the high cap mag. The only problem is that is the top of the mag. So when it is in the gun, so let me just get my all 10 thumbs to do their work here. So once the mag is in, you can obviously see your high cap mechanism right there, and obviously to release, of course, like normal. Now the problem is, as most of you guys that know that have used high caps in the past, every 5th, 6th, sometimes 7th shot, you do have to rewind it and basically get all that tension back up in your high caps. Now, normally speaking, or generally speaking, this isn't normally a problem, because obviously your wheel's at the bottom of the magazine is external to the gun, etc., etc. It's not that much of an issue. With the Double Bell, unfortunately, this is their one design flaw. To wind up your high cap mag, you need to remove the mag from the gun, because your wind is there, which when it is in the gun, of course, is underneath there, so damn near impossible to get to. So the one downfall. But then again, nowadays, and well, when I say nowadays, I mean pretty much the way it's been for the last 3 or 4, maybe even 5 years in the airsoft world, the moment people buy guns, they come with high cap mags. This is the first thing to hit the bin, or just never ever leave the original box, and mid caps are then replaced. Now, mid caps for P90s, that was also an issue, which is why the P90s were never all that popular, because magazines and spares and that sort of stuff were so hard to get for them, because unfortunately, much like things like Chris Vector's, what's that other one? The name escapes me now, but like there's a handful of guns out there that what we would like to put into the brackets of exotic. So of course, spares, accessories, that sort of stuff, not exactly the easiest thing to get for exotic guns. Now, thanks to Double Bell, and of course another lovely company by the name of Big Dragon, that is no longer an issue. So yes, you can get mid caps and high caps for the P90s. They are readily available. Spares are readily available for them. So yeah, no longer are those an issue anymore. But anyway, moving on with the P90, let's move on to a few more of its little perks, or its positives, should I say. Once I figure out how to open this, of course, there's a button. Jeez. This is the problem with new guns. Everything is so tight. There we go. Okay, so obviously with the P90s, this is pretty much across the board. Every brand does this. They have a ton of battery space, as you guys can see there. But the one thing that's pretty awesome about the Double Bell is you do have this quick change spring. So getting back to internals, Double Bell, as you guys have known from any of the other videos I've done on Double Bell, all their internals are CNC'd. That includes their shells. So therefore their shells are a whole lot more strong than most airsoft guns out there, which are then cast gearbox shells. So Double Bell, as per usual, standing up with their same internal sort of standards as such. So everything inside here is CNC, and of course you do have that quick release spring down there. So if the gun is underpowered, which it's not, just by the way, on the chrono it comes in around 1.2, 1.25 joules. So it's around about the 340, 350 range feet per second on a 0.2 gram BB, which is perfect for CQB, because I mean, let's be honest, it's not like you're going to be using one of these as a DMR. It is a CQB gun. It is designed for close quarters, so you don't need much more than that. However, should you decide that you do need more, you can quick release that spring and obviously drop in a bigger spring or a smaller spring, whichever you prefer, because also, once again, like with Double Bell, their internals being CNC'd, their internals are CNC'd in the P90 as well. So therefore you have a CNC air nozzle, you have a CNC piston head, you have a CNC cylinder head. So therefore you really do not need all that many upgrades. It is still running a standard analog trigger, as are all Double Bells at the moment. However, like I said in one of our previous videos, they have released ETU models, which have now finally been released. We're just waiting for them to get into country. This is still running analog trigger. It's not that big of a deal. You can drop in aftermarket MOSFETs and ETUs should you need to. Don't think you're going to need to, because at the end of the day, what's so nice about the P90s is the fact that you do have this sort of trigger that gives you absolutely no doubt whatsoever that you are in fact actuating the trigger as such. Whereas with an ETU, you might lose a little bit of that feel. In the P90s, maybe not so much because of the way the trigger is designed, but obviously there's pros and cons that you guys need to weigh up on that. So that being said, that pretty much brings this video down to a close. There's not a whole lot I can say on the Double Bell P90s. There's not much I can say on the P90s in general. However, if you are looking at a P90, if this is one of those platforms that have been tickling you for a little bit, but you're still not quite 100% sure on going for it because of obviously the issues that I've mentioned with the P90s on our little history lesson a couple minutes ago, now's the time to reconsider that, because those issues are no longer a factor anymore. So that being said, this video now is down to a close as per usual, so we will see you guys in the following videos. Stay tuned for our next ones, which is going to be something special for you guys. I'm going to be doing the Classic Army. Which Classic Army, I don't know as yet. Well, actually no, that's a lie. I do know, you guys don't know. That's a surprise for you guys, so stay tuned for our next video where we're going to be going over one of the Classic Armies and then carry on with normal videos thereafter. So as per usual, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications so you get notified when our videos are uploaded, and we will see you guys in the following videos. So as always, stay classy, and above all, call those hits, and we'll see you guys in the next video.